Let's talk about lighting. It's probably the most overlooked aspect of your video creation and filmmaking, but it's also the number one thing that can change everything about your video projects. If you can master the 5 simple lighting fundamentals that we will show you in this video, we guarantee you that you will not only up the production value of your videos, but will also have the power to create cinematic imagery for whatever kind of videos you want to create. From promo videos to vlogs to YouTube tutorials like this one. This is Christine from InVideo, and today is all about cinematic lighting. Step 1 is to use soft lighting from diffuse light sources instead of harsh light sources. This is one of the most fundamental steps to create a cinematic look, and also it can create the biggest impact in terms of how your shots look like. For instance, check out how this shot looks like with a harsh 1-point light source versus a diffuse light source. As you can clearly see, the shot with the direct light seems very artificial and causes harsh shadows. Now, there are few ways to achieve soft lighting without having to spend hundreds of dollars on expensive lights. You can add a layer of diffusion with the help of something as simple as a diffusion paper that you will easily get on Amazon. Of course, another popular way of diffusing light is by using a soft box. They can go on top of LED lights or flashlights and will be available in different shapes and sizes. But if you're shooting in a closed room for a YouTube video or a product video, a softbox between 18 inches to 32 inches should be just enough, and you can buy one for as low as $40. We will drop in a link for the one we recommend in the description below. Now, if you're shooting outdoors, then the easiest way to achieve diffuse lighting is by shooting at the right time of the day. For those of you who've just started shooting your own footages, the best time to shoot outdoors is the golden hours, which is the first hour when the light is coming up and the last hour of the day when the sun is going down. During this time, the light from the sun mimics the diffuse light you get when you use a soap box in front of an LED light, eliminating the harsh shadows it can cast on your subject. On the other hand, if you shoot during the day, the sun will act very similar to a hard direct source of light coming from above your subject, leading to hard shadows on your subject. For instance, check out these 3 shots that were taken at 6 AM, 12 PM and 6 PM. As you can clearly see, the shots taken at 6 AM and 6 PM look much smoother and cinematic as opposed to the shot taken at 12 PM. Step number 2 is to pay attention to the angle and direction of your lighting. Now, while step number 1 will ensure that you have the ideal intensity and lighting for your videos, the direction from which you light up your subject will drastically change the look and feel of your shots. If you light up your subject from too far up, it will again lead to harsh shadows on your subject, especially under the eyes, leading to your subject looking creepy, depressed or less trustworthy. On the other hand, if you place your light source too low, you'll start making your subject look super unnatural, tense or borderline scary. More often than not, what you'll be tempted to do is to place the light right in front of your subject to light it evenly. But as you can see here, what happens is that this makes your subject's face look flat since it eliminates all shadows and depth. You would want to place your main light source at a 45-degree angle from your camera so that it eliminates shadows on one side but still retains the drop shadow on one side of the frame. So if you're just starting to shoot your footage, remember, the direction of the light is as important as the quality or intensity of the light, if not more. Step number 3 is to make sure you light your background. This is probably the second most overlooked step after angle of lighting, since most people will light up the subject, leaving the background entirely dark, especially if you're shooting indoors. What this does is, it highlights the artificial nature of these lights and makes the video look even more staged. Now, this is not just important for interviews or tutorials, but is also important for B-rolls and vlogs. If you'd go back and watch any of your favorite YouTubers, you'd see that their backgrounds will always be lit properly to make the video look natural. You can do this super easily by simply adding a light source in your background like a lamp or to bounce diffuse light onto the wall. Step number 4 to cinematic lighting is to ensure you have depth in frame. Creating depth of frame becomes super important when you think of how you can separate your subject in focus from the background. Now, one way to shoot this is by a low aperture lens. Now, as you've guessed, it's not something doable if you're shooting from your phone. Now, the simplest way to do this is by reducing the amount of light that you use for your background and making it darker as compared to the amount of light on your subject. Another way of doing this is by using a light source with a complementary color to separate your subject from the background. For example, if you're using a slightly warm light as your key light, lighting your background with more warm light will not help you differentiate your subject. Instead, what you want to do is use a blue light since it's on the opposite end of the color wheel. This brings us to our last and final step, which is to ensure that your subject has a catch light or an eye light. This is essentially the reflection of the source of light on your subject's eye. This is something that makes your characters feel human and alive. If you ever see another person in natural daylight, you'd always see one catch light, which is a reflection of the light coming from the sun. So when you're shooting indoors, what you would want to do is position your lights in a way that your subject mimics the same look and feel. And that was a roundup of 5 key steps that you can take today to achieve cinematic lighting and make your videos look like $1,000,000. Which one of these tips was your favorite? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to check out this next video where we talk about 5 video lighting tips that every beginner should use when they're creating their videos.
Đăng ký dùng thử miễn phí phần mềm tạo video tại trang web invideo.design.